That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Cliff Schecter. Cliff, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sammy. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. These type of things. What's going on in Colorado are just so horrible. And I know
Yeah.
you work quite a bit on gun control issues, and so and I know you're on the road too. You may not have had a chance to be updated on the stuff, but just give me your take. I mean, I just spent a couple minutes talking about how there are people saying this shouldn't be about politics, and I agree to the extent that it shouldn't be about electoral politics. But we
Right.
create, but electoral politics and our policy also create a context where insane people like this guy's obviously insane. It creates an environment that nurtures certain, that preys upon insane people.
Yeah, this is this faux centricity crap. I'm sorry, I feel rather strongly about this, as you may have heard me discuss these things before, and I do about this too. And to me, this is the same. I can say whatever I want on your show, right, Sam?
Yes.
Edited for once again. This is the same third wave bullshit we hear all the time. Everybody just needs to work together, and let's not jump to conclusions. And we can't talk about politics. Absolutely, it would be crass and despicable, I think, to talk about this in terms of electoral politics. Will Colorado go more Obama? No. That I honestly do think that would be wrong to do. However, when it comes to what it is that occurred, why it occurred, and what could prevent this kind of thing in the future, to not talk about it, that's the NRA's game. Don't politicize it. And to them, politicizing it is bringing up the fact that they've ensured that most states don't have background checks when for people who are mentally insane, drug abusers, who are criminals, who are terrorists, and the rest to buy guns. This is that they claim they want to stop guns from getting in the hands of criminals, but they've actually fought in a number of states for violent felons and domestic abusers to get their gun rights reinstated. Their business plan is for people to die. They have enough blood on their hands to fill many swimming pools. They are evil, evil people. I remember, I think Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out once on his show, when he got in a spat with LaPierre, that no lobbyist has more blood on their hands than LaPierre does. Every day of his life since the late 70s when he got into this, he wakes up and tries to find a way to undermine gun laws. And that's basically the truth here. And we don't know exactly what happened, but we do know the culture that's been created. We do know that basic laws and that the CDC is, for example, can't keep track of certain statistics and what goes on with guns because they've been intimidated by legislators because of the NRA. We do know that the ATF and the FBI can't share certain information that would help track guns because of the fact that the NRA will not allow that to happen and has bought off enough legislators. We do know the fact that the only gun control measure at all that President Obama has even tried to enact, which is to trace long guns that are bought in bulk going across the border, where 48,000 Mexicans have died since 2009 in the drug war, not to mention countless Americans, that the NRA has fought that. These are all facts, and they can't be disputed as much as the crazy people on the right would like to. That this is the NRA's business model. Fewer and fewer people who are younger are buying guns, so the way they gin up their gun sales, they should remind you of what Big Tobacco did 20 or 30 years ago. They need to find new markets. They need to make sure so that means gun running, and that means they need to find ways to scare people that would normally buy guns into buying guns, and all sorts of things like that. And don't make a mistake for a second that this isn't part of their business model, because it is. Okay, I guess I'm done with my rant now.
Well, no, we just played a push poll that one of our listeners had sent in actually a couple of days ago. Sort of ginning up this sort of paranoia that now it's the UN if it's not Obama, right? And it's not somebody else coming to get your guns. It's the UN coming to get your guns. And we're going to fight this.
Either the black guy or the black helicopters, one or the other, right?
Indeed. And you can't, you look at like these stand your ground laws, you look at the idea that both from a rhetorical standpoint, that we're not creating a context that that plays on, I don't doubt that the NRA does not have the agenda to trigger insane people. Of course they don't. But the point is, this is a byproduct of their business model, which is no different than the byproduct of a business model that ends up dumping pollutants into our rivers. This is a cost that they're externalizing to society, and the rest of us suck it up. The cost, in this case, comes in the, every month or so, we have some type of mass murder. Alabama last month or whatever it was, and this is an externality that we absorb as a society for their business model.
That's exactly right. And I just try to make sure people don't just talk about this. And I talked about this ad nauseum on your show, many other places, which is people fall into their model of it's a social issue. They want to make it cultural. It's not. Because in a poll that I did with the group I work with, Mayors Against Illegal Guns, I didn't do the poll, but a poll we did, that we purposely hired Frank Luntz to do it because let's see the conservatives try to undermine him. Then that 70% of NRA members believe there should be background checks at gun shows. 80% of NRA members think that people who are on the terror watch list shouldn't have access to guns. Even 60% or 58, I think, in the high 50s, believe that there should be gun registration. All right, they create this fake. It's like the fake debate created over Social Security, where we must do. We have to rein in Social Security. Like that's the problem with the budget. It's a fake debate these guys create. Because they know that most people are against them, and in the end, most of their own members are against them and don't even know what these guys stand for. They are the ultimate one percenters. If you think about people that pollute your environment, and a byproduct of that is people get cancer and die so they can make more money. The NRA is a front for I've said this again and again. Their board is littered with members of gun manufacturers. There's all sorts of events they do are sponsored by gun manufacturers. It's very simple. Their model is to sell more guns. They don't care who dies. And I will say to you, you're right, they may not be like, let's trigger crazy people, but I promise you for 1 second they don't mind. If a crazy person does something like this and leads more people to buy guns, that's okay. Because the truth is that if they know that their rhetoric is leading to that, they know their rhetoric leads to a guy in Pittsburgh shooting 4 policemen who come to his house because he thinks that, or 3, because he thinks that Obama's coming to take his gun. It leads to a guy in California buying a gun and showing up at the Pentagon and shooting people because he thinks the government's coming to get him. This doesn't come from nowhere. If you read the NRA emails, like I do, because I have to, because of what I do, if you see the emails they send out constantly, if you see the speeches they make constantly, if you see all this, they are preying on paranoid and let's just call it what they are, crazy members of society, scaring them into buying more guns and shooting at anything that moves. And then you throw in these unbelievable fucking imbeciles like Louis Gohmert, who must be the stupidest person alive. I guess if you take out Michelle Bachmann and Alan West, that people like that represent us in what's supposed to be a representative body, and legislate and vote on things. That this guy's response to this whole thing is, if only more people had guns. Talk to some of the guys like Colin Goddard, and Omar Samaha, who lost his sister, and Colin Goddard, who was shot at Virginia Tech, and they'll tell you what would have happened if more people in that French classroom had guns. Right. Like people that are not trained by the military, even in war zones, crazy things happen, of course.
Let's listen. Hold on for a second. So people know what you're talking about. This is this we did not play. This is Louis Gohmert on that same Heritage radio show saying that very thing. Well, let's play it and you can listen. And this is just pure insanity.
They do have concealed carry permits in Colorado. Colorado does have concealed carry permits.
Yeah, well, it does make me wonder, with all those people in the theater, was there nobody that was carrying that could have stopped this guy more quickly?
Now, the idea that somebody's sitting in a theater at midnight with their firearm, first of all, that in and of itself sort of terrifies me. But be that as it may, they're a very responsible citizen. We're not talking about security guards here. We're just talking about a citizen who just carries heat to a theater. The idea that in a darkened theater, while you're watching Batman, that this guy's going to stand up in a crowded theater and take out, I guess, Clint Eastwood style, this guy coming in with automatic weapons, wearing a Kevlar vest. We don't know what other body armor is just pure insanity. And you're right, it just feeds into this narrative of we've got to arm ourselves to the teeth. This is the way to deal with this problem.
But these guys are children. I mean, they've shown it on refusing to. They're like Ayn Rand's sociopathic hero, which in the end is just little boys that never reach puberty. I mean, that's what these guys are. Like when you used to play, I know it's not so PC anymore, Cowboys and Indians, or whatever game you played when you were kids, when you ran around and pretended to shoot guns, whatever. There are guys who still think the world works that way who are making legislation. And, I mean, it's just so patently stupid. I mean, the clearest case of this being, of course, which should be a much more famous case if it were covered more clearly, the Tucson shooting, where the first guy on the scene who had a concealed weapon almost shot the wrong person. He almost shot the guy wrestling the gun away from Jared Loeffner. That was in broad daylight in a parking lot. Okay, in a movie theater, you're not going to know who to shoot. People aren't trained. People aren't used to being under that kind of pressure. I mean, insanity. It's so utterly stupid that this. I mean, again, it's embarrassing in so many ways. Every time Louis Gohmert opens his unbelievably stupid mouth, he's embarrassing. But that these guys are making legislation just tells you everything you need to know. And again, it also takes us back to the big waste of money, time, and whatever that we just spent on Fast and Furious, a completely bogus and, according to a fantastic report in Fortune, exaggerated and really mostly not true scandal where suddenly the NRA decided they care about guns and not people with guns, right? Because guns aren't supposed to kill people. But suddenly they did, and made sure that everybody, including a bunch of cowardly blue dog Democrats, wasted their time voting to condemn Eric Holder. Mind you, there are other reasons to go after Eric Holder, like not sending anybody from Wall Street to prison, but on this made-up scandal. And while they're doing that, there's 33 states that haven't closed the gun show loophole, and a guy who can't get on an airplane can still buy a gun because of terrorist ties. And you can go and buy all sorts of guns, and guns that show up in criminal and crime scenes can't be traced because of these T-Hart amendments that are attached to these funding bills, so they can't share the information. And because the NRA doesn't want it to happen, there's been nobody running the ATF since 2006. President Bush couldn't get somebody appointed after that, and Obama hasn't because the NRA will block any vote in the Senate. So there's nobody even running the darn organization. I mean, so we everything they've done to undermine stopping criminal guns making their ways to criminals. But then they're just freaked out by when their handiwork comes to fruition. And then again, most of that scandal isn't even really a scandal, but whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, it was exaggerated. So this is what we're dealing. I mean, it's horrifying. And I'm sorry. I'd like to joke here on Friday, but I mean, how angry it gets me that 12 kids that were sitting there minding their own business watching a movie are dead. And they're dead now because of the culture created by the NRA and the politicians that they've bought off. I mean, again, I don't know the exact story, but it always happens this way. I can promise you. The gun show loophole was the reason one of the Columbine guys got their hands on guns. The fact that the mental records were not shared as they should have been was the reason why the Virginia Tech shooting took place. Jared Loeffner had been rejected by the military, something that should have been shared and would have precluded him from getting a gun. There's always a backstory here, and there will be one with this one. I promise you. We'll find out what red flag was missed and what way it should have been stopped. And if we were spending all of our time trying to stop these things instead of on things like Fast and Furious and other ridiculous wastes of our time, we could probably stop most of these things.
Right.
And it's horrifying.
This is just a very stark example of corporations, essentially through their trade organization, the NRA, just offloading the costs of their doing business. And exactly in this instance, it's a very hard argument to make that they're serving an essential function in this country. I mean, you can make the argument, well, people want to drive their cars, so that mitigates the implications of pollution. And I suppose people. There are some people who go out and shoot deer. I got neighbors upstate.
But nobody's trying to take that. The NRA is unnecessary because no one's trying to take that right away. Nobody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I do not know one person who's an activist on the side of trying to get better gun safety legislation. I don't know anybody who wants to take away anyone's right to hunt. I know very few people. I'll admit there are a few here and there that want to get guns out of people's homes. I don't. I think if someone passes a background check, and legitimately does that, if they want to keep a gun in their home, they have that right. I don't think that right is guaranteed in the Constitution. I think they've completely bastardized the Second Amendment that had to do with people protecting this country because there was no standing army. But I personally believe that, yes, in my view of the law, someone should have that right.
Right.
But no one. And so I'm not going after that either. That doesn't matter because every time I mention any of the stuff I mention, the righties come after me with those kinds of straw arguments that all we want to do is take away people's guns. But the NRA is a completely unnecessary organization. No one is blocking people from shooting for sport. Which, by the way, I used to do on a riflery team when I used to spend summers in New Hampshire for a number of years. So I obviously don't have a problem with that. As well as hunting and other things. This has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, it just came out a few weeks ago that Florida is not even conducting background checks on people that are getting concealed carry permits. So beyond people getting guns to their homes, there's still post-George Zimmerman are people who are not even having to go through a background check to get a concealed carry permit. What kind of civilization exists that way? It's unbelievable to me. So I'm sorry. I know we didn't want to spend this much time on this issue.
No. It's it's a horrible tragedy, and I know you've dedicated a big chunk of your life to this, and you're passionate about it, and I appreciate it.